People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in each and every time. As usual, I hope you're all doing well and safe and all those sort of things there. And I'd like to extend that to your loved ones, especially during this troubled time globally. Doesn't matter who you are, wherever you are, no doubt to some degree you're affected by, this whole corona stuff. But we're not here to speak about that. Like I said, I hope you're all well. Relation to Arsenal, there isn't much things to really speak about, people. First and foremost, I actually need to find the screenshot because I saw Lacazette. Now, obviously, I don't know French, people, and my English is, my native tongue is English, and I've struggled to speak that, so I'm never going to be able to translate fully what things say. And I don't know if he's deleted the tweet, but I think Lacazette replied to something in relation to his transfer speculation. He's been linked with a bag of clubs. The one that's consistent is Atletico Madrid, and I think his agents quashed the rumour, and then he replied to it. But I'm trying to find it, and knowing Lacazette or just knowing footballers, it would make sense to just it's still here, people. So yeah, as you lot can see, or I hope you can see, you got this. Now, if you speak French, you know what that says. But moving on, if I click translate tweet, it says, Twitter is not magic. It's not nice to lie to the fans of Atletico, more or less. And then Lacazette replied, and he said, that's that. Again, my French people, them. I don't know what that means, but I should have really listened. But he said it's not beautiful at all. So long story short, it's like me saying, it's like me being an agent and saying, oh, it's not nice to lie. And Lacazette said, yeah, I'm not lying. It's not nice to lie, sort of thing. And Lacazette's future, until he signs a new deal or has moved on, it's going to be, delicate one. Now, for me, I would like the first intention, if our club was in their most healthiest way and whatnot, I would keep Lacazette. If it came down to Aubameyang or Lacazette, I'm not going to lie, I'm selling Lacazette. Now, it's a delicate one because there's cases to keep Aubameyang and let him run down his deal. There's cases, obviously, to sell him and make your 50-odd million back. Obviously, there's cases to sell Lacazette and roll with Aubameyang. There's cases to sell them both. I would love Lacazette to stay. I think he's a great player. I like him. Obviously, with his form, this is probably the most time I've been at in his Arsenal career when I've looked at it and said I wouldn't mind him leaving. I like him for the squad. If he would accept being, a rotation option / if you earn your spot, you play sort of thing. Like you remember a couple of months ago or even last season, Lacazette was playing to the point where, we had a problem fitting everybody else in. We had a good problem is that Lacazette and Aubameyang, how do we make them play together? Lacazette's not been playing like that. And at 28, you might think, I want to go play Champions League football. I've had a great time at Arsenal, but the whole carrot of returning to the Champions League hasn't happened here. Let me go elsewhere. So just because he's come out and said that doesn't mean it's an end to his transfer speculation. His contract is until 2022, same as Eddie Nketiah, Kolasinac. I could be wrong, but Hector Bellerin. So speaking of, it's all fun and games talking about Aubameyang and Saka and all the other 2021 guys who have a year left, which is valid to speak about them. But you've got to think about the next year. This is an ongoing process. There's always going to be somebody's contract we're going to need to deal with, and it doesn't feel like, sadly, my club is really on the ball with that. We haven't been on the ball with a lot of things, and I'm not dropping this at the feet of Raul Sanllehi, but when you come out and say we're not going to let players run down their last 2 years, for me anyways, as an Arsenal fan who's seen, how much we apparently a bid of 70 or 90 million or something for Alexis, Ramsey would have probably made about a 40. You're messing up the contract stuff and you're having to stick or twist and not get what you potentially deserve with these players. And in terms of if we need to be self-sustaining, it's these sort of things that need to change, because you're looking at 100-odd million just on them two players if it came in. And we don't even sell our homegrown prospects for the best money. So there's a lot of things to be done. And Lacazette might be someone, I can't remember the quotes, but Arteta's been speaking recently and he kept speaking about hold-up play and dropping deep as a striker, which is Lacazette's sort of thing. I do think he probably wants a quicker sort of man and whatnot. And to be fair, I don't think on form, again, a few months ago I wouldn't have said this, but if you was to name your strongest lineup right now, it's not Lacazette. Pepe's a bit inconsistent, but I'm going probably with Aubameyang or Martinelli up front. But let's say Aubameyang up front, Martinelli on the left. We've paid 70-odd million for Pepe, so we've got to ride with that on the right-hand side. So it's nice to see, man. At least it's nice to see his point enter rumours. He could be in negotiations, or like I said in a video yesterday, and like you lot have seen, it could be exaggerated in that he is a plan B. You've heard they want Cavani. You heard Simeone wants his fellow South American. That'll be a big signing. That's a sign that always happens in Football Manager as well. And even though Cavani be a free transfer, that's a heavy outlay. And you're hearing Atletico, are in some financial difficulties. Could they afford to not only give Cavani an expensive contract and stuff, but give Lacazette the wages and whatnot, as well as paying a transfer fee if the Thomas Partey rumours allegedly in relation to a swap deal are not true, sort of thing. So we'll have to see, but it's nice that if Lacazette is to stay or go, he's put an end to these rumours. They're never going to go away, but it's nice to have a player come out and speak, and you know, footballers must laugh all the time at stuff they've been linked with. I, for what it's worth, don't think he'd be a good fit for Atletico Madrid, but this is just me sitting in my room. My opinion don't mean nothing. Moving away from that, and I've mentioned Partey, and again, I don't want to keep going over this guy, because 1 minute he's staying at Atletico, then it's United, then it's PSG, then it's Juventus, then his heart set on Arsenal. Apparently, the Telegraph and Sky Sports have also said this, but this is just paper talk. Partey has made it clear he would like to move to Arsenal and is hoping a deal can be struck between the clubs. The player has told those close to him he has ambitions of proving himself in the Premier League with a move to Arsenal. Now, again, he might have been an Arsenal fan growing up. I know there's a lot of Arsenal fans in his home nation of Ghana, so that might, you know, the historical Arsenal ties might play a part. Because if you're honest, some of the teams he's been linked with in terms of sporting ambition and things like that, it don't make sense to come to Arsenal. But, you know, if he remembers what Arsenal used to be, if that still holds weight in his mind, if his family and close advisors are helping us get him over the line, if he wants, you know, to test himself in the Premier League, then these are all the boxes Arsenal tick, and obviously we're trying to rebuild. So playing under Arteta, if this project entices him, of course I would love that as an Arsenal fan personally, people, and whatnot. You know, maybe the fact that, you know, whether it's true or not, and whoever's been the manager, one consistency is we've been linked with him quite often. So, you know, he might feel just that little bit wanted. But again, he needs to take his time. It's about sporting projects. It's actually about finances and contract length as well at his age. What's he, 20, anything from 24 to 26? I actually don't know how old Thomas Partey is, but I'll check for you guys quickly because I keep saying that sort of stuff. He's 26, 27 in June, so it's a touchy one, you know. He's 27 in June, you know. Knowing Arsenal, they'll probably give a man a 3-year deal, make the same mistake kind of with Aubameyang and things, and stuff like that. To be fair, he should get a 4-year deal. His agent should be pushing for a 4-year deal, in my opinion. Tie him down until he's 31, and then you're free to negotiate. If you want to stay at Arsenal, cool. If you want to move away for one last experience, cool. For Arsenal, obviously, it doesn't make sense to tie him down on the wrong side of 30, and we all know where we are. And to be honest, we're going to have to give him healthy wages. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be Mesut Ozil wages or things like that. He's 27 now, people. And you need to recognise these things. So we'll see what happens in that regards. Of course, I would love Thomas Partey. Moving away from that and keeping themes with central midfielders, I follow whoscored.com on Twitter, and I always look at what they're doing. I don't read too much into stats, but I like to see things. One stat, and again, it shows some promise with Joe Willock. Most dribbles per 90 minutes of central midfielders in the Premier League this season, in brackets, players who have made 15 plus appearances. You've got Kovacic of 3.7 of Chelsea, Ndombele, who's got his own struggles at Spurs, at 3.6, and Joe Willock at 2.6. Now, obviously, you know, the amount of game time you play and things, I'm pretty sure will you know, have a bearing on this. And I'm not saying he's the strongest dribbler, but for me, this shows some promise with Joe. And one thing I like about Joe is I think he's not raw is not the right word, but in terms of raw sort of aggression, carrying a ball, looking at all our central midfielders, we've got better dribblers than him, but in terms of ball carrying, getting it like actual legs, I think he's got that. I think he could be a real box-to-box midfielder. Clearly, he's seen as a creative midfielder because our many managers, Lumberg, Arteta now, and obviously Emery have played him in that 10 position, and he's done it at academy level. But obviously and he's done it with ease at academy level. Listen, there was how many years did I make videos saying he needs to go on loan if he's not going to get first team because he's bullying it. Obviously, he needs to add more to his game. For me, his decision making is not of the standard quite yet, and he's still, if he's going to play that 10 role, I don't think it's him. I think he should be in the pivot because I think he's got strengths for that, and I think he could have a real future there. But if he's going to be there, and again, I know Ozil and players like Mkhitaryan and all these guys get a lot of criticism, but you know, they know how to go searching for the ball. They know sometimes, let me drop deep. They know the positions to take up, and I don't feel Joe currently knows that, and he lets him pass it by. Clearly, he's got something in him because you look at someone like Emil Smith-Rowe, who's you describe as that's more his skill set. Joe Willock's ahead of him for whatever reason. And this shows promise, you know, he can dribble. I think, again, carrying and dribbling is the same thing. But I think Joe Willock is one of the best ball carriers in this team. Not necessarily ball dribbling. If you're looking at ball dribbling, you're looking at Pepe or even Ceballos to a degree, you know. would you describe Luiz as probably more of a ball carrier? He can play a ball. He's quite brave on the ball as well. But I think he's the. Obviously I'm reaching a bit, but I think Joe's the best, or one of the best ball carriers in this team, and it shows some promise. I do think there's some developing to be done by him physically, but if he develops all physically, if he improves the little things he needs to improve, then I think he could. I'm not here to say he can be this, that and the other, but I think he can be a real decent player for Arsenal. And obviously the man himself has said he's got ambitions to play for England, so if he keeps it up, you don't know what could happen, and it shows some promise. I know some people are frustrated with Joe, and for me, this is where I go with young players. Not everybody needs to be Martinelli and Saka. Some man need to do that and be the flag bearers. Some man got to just be decent squad players and consistent options. Some man are not going to make it here. I do genuinely believe, again, it's on one hand, I do think it's a tough ask asking, again, not saying these players aren't going to make it, but highlighting the fact that they're young academy players. Martinelli don't really count, but I'm going to, he came from Brazil, but Martinelli, and he's going to make it. Saka, Maitland, Emil, Nelson, Joe, it's not Emil, it's not, if I haven't said him, it's naive to think they're all going to be starters and playing week in, week out. I believe they've all got the potential to be part of this squad long term in some capacity, and if they want that, that's cool, but they're going to need to prove it. And, big up Joe for that. Quickly moving over back to transfer stuff though, and you've seen on emerging reports online, again, Arsenal and Gabriel, we've signed players from Lille before. In terms of finances, apparently 30 million euros for the centre half is enough. That's up Arsenal street. Similar to Pepe deal, we might be able to structure it with Lille. Obviously, the man himself, he's not the oldest of centre halves, so he can be here for the rebuild. There's obviously potential resale value there as well. He's been linked with a whole host of clubs. 1 minute he's going PSG, the next minute he's going Everton, and I'm pretty sure at one point a few weeks ago he was everything but a Chelsea player in name, and that could still be the case, people. And you heard Arsenal in there. Apparently we're back in for it. Apparently, one reporter said it has been reported that Arsenal are all set to make an official offer to Lille for the services of Gabriel. The club have already sounded out whether he'd come to the Emirates and have had a pleasing response. So make of that what you will, people. Finally, again, just because Arsenal players might be the fittest in terms of this to a degree doesn't mean we're going to have the greatest of seasons. But Stats Sports, the sort of tracking app that the professional players use, a leaderboard on the top range of fitness tracking app, Statsport, has been dominated by Arsenal stars, and it is Kieran Tierney who covered the most distance at the highest intensity. So that's decent. And I did see the list. I haven't got it all to hand, but there is a couple of Arsenal players. And for me, that's nice to see from Tierney that he's keeping himself fully fit, especially because he should be one of the most hungriest in this team because he's moved to a new team. I think in the rare appearances we've seen from him, you could see he can be that left back, that consistent left back for us. That I want him to be the left back sort of version of Sagna. Obviously, what I mean by that is, Sagna, he was one of them players who, when we could play 10 games, what he's going to do. He might not be the most amazing on the ball, and I do think Tierney's better on the ball than him, but you had that consistency, you had that confidence, and I think Tierney could be that. Obviously, with the shoulder and is it a hip, he's been robbed of really cementing his place at left back, and obviously Saka's benefited from that as well. But you want to see Tierney back. He's 22 years of age. He's someone that can be a hallmark for Arsenal and really help us accomplish something in the next few years. And obviously he's just at a new team. And obviously as a fullback you need to be one of the fittest. I'll be surprised if it's not a fullback that's one of the fittest in the Arsenal squad, or being a member of the fullback union myself. Rather, I hope that's the case, people. In terms of that though, I don't think I have anything else to add, people. There really isn't anything else to add, so I'm just going to get out of here. Thank you for listening, people. Please get in the comments, subscribe, do the rest. By the time this video comes out, I'm pretty sure I would have asked for your Q&A questions, so please head over to the YouTube community tab and ask them questions. You've got till 12 PM tomorrow, which is Wednesday, and obviously UK time because I'm not living elsewhere. It's always a pleasure speaking with you guys, but until next time, DG.